Greetings, fellow armchair Imagineers. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And welcome to Talking Mrs. Bates, the show where we check into the Bates Motel.
But we don't always check out.
Yes, and we are back for the mother of all lists, the top 10 Norma Bates moments. Yes, very good, very good.
Exactly.
Yeah, number 8 through 1 to be precise, because god darn it, Blue Dragon 5, YouTube disapproves of us doing this video like Mother disapproves of Norman dating. Isn't that right?
Oh yeah, I'm sure she's basically saying, you don't need to do this video. It's fine. The video, you got the first part there. Don't go into it any. Don't pry any further. Stop it.
So just to be clear, like, we tried recording this on Mother's Day, which was a week ago, which would have been a very appropriate time to have this video. We were planning it all season, like, oh, top 10 Norma moments on Mother's Day. Oh, it'll be great. It'll be like our end of the year or end of the season thing. And then your internet cuts out, and I'm like, and then I make a lousy hosting job of myself because I basically freeze on air, and I have to cut the show off, and so I'm like, okay, that's unusable, because where were we at on that list, Blue Dragon 5? We were at, like, number 8 or something like that.
On this list?
No, on the first show we tried to do.
Well, no, we did.
Last week.
We did number 8 last time. I think, actually, we might have been to number 5. Either 6
really?
or 5. It was either 5 or 6. I can't recall.
Oh, wow. Oh, well.
I know we did 7.
I should have. In hindsight, maybe I should have saved that show, because by the time we got to the second show, and lo and behold, my computer screws up this time. My laptop actually decided, hey, you know what? This guy's in the middle of a live show. This is a really good time for an automatic update where I'm just going to restart the computer. Yeah!
But you see, folks, what actually happened was when Tiki's computer cut out, he was kidnapped, put in the box. I had to find him. I had to find my local sheriff. It was a whole ordeal. He had a huge revelation in the rain, and it was a whole ordeal to get back. I hope you appreciate the true depths of what we had to go through to get here.
Well, let's just say I had my own Norma Bates style freak out when my internet cut out, because I was, oh no, it wasn't my internet, it was when my laptop cut out, because I was just basically like, no, this is not the time for an automatic update.
I can't get it.
Oh my god. Oh, I was pissed. I was like, especially because it's like, well, great, that's the second try that we've tried to record the video. Oh boy, but indeed, we are back, Blue Dragon 5. We've got our honorable mentions out of the way. We've got our number 10 and 9 out of the way. If you guys want to go back and check all that out, I'll provide a link. It's right. It's one of the last videos we've done. So, with that in mind, Blue Dragon 5, we want to go ahead and jump into our number 8 through number 1 and just finally finish this thing once and for all. God willing, neither of our internets cut out.
Well, we were on your number 8.
You're on my number 8. Okay, sounds good.
You go, then I go, in terms of listings here.
Okay. All right, so my number 8. So Blue Dragon 5. If you go back and watch the the season-long recap of we did a Bates Motel season 2. One of the really funny ongoing themes of that is that we were constantly getting predictions wrong. In fact, we were like almost at a point dead sure. Like, didn't we list at one point Dylan's survival rate for the season was as low as 5% at one point?
Actually, at 5 I can't recall. I know 12 was there. I might be misremembering. I think 12 is actually the lowest.
I think 5 was going into the penultimate episode, and then after the penultimate episode, it raised slightly up to 12, if I remember correctly.
Point is, there was no genuine safety for Dylan this season.
No, but another point is that we generally just like anything that came up, we basically anything that we thought was going to be a major plot line just was not a major plot line, and nothing was truer of that than what became kind of a running joke. South Pacific. Yeah, this happens. Is it the second episode of the season, Blue Dragon 5? I believe it is, right?
Yes.
All right, this happens the second episode of the season. You know, it's like Norma, she's just, she's just trying to get a little mother-son bonding experience in with Norman. So she makes this very pleasant little suggestion that they try out for the local play together, South Pacific, which come to find out is basically an allegory for the cheap and fake lifestyle that she's going to embark in with the George and Christine storyline.
And it's so funny that the director of this play quits. They quits, and then they embark on this friendship. It's so funny. The thing that brought them together is supposed to parallel their life has no bearing on
it. Yeah. I mean, granted, basically the only purpose, well, it basically just served the purpose to introduce Christine and then kind of introduce Cody in a more direct way other than just like, hey, it's the girl at the convenience store. So, that was really it. It was just kind of a vehicle to, introduce some characters. But we thought it was going to be like, oh my god, like at the end of the season, they're going to be performing South Pacific. Like, we totally thought, like, okay, we got the end of the season down. Like, South Pacific is going to be going on.
Or at least the halfway point.
Well, yeah. But we were so convinced that at some point they were going to, like, actually put on South Pacific, and in the middle of a musical number, we were going to get a scene where it, like, intersected with a scene of, like, Norman murdering someone or something like that.
Either that or, like, behind the scenes, Emma's father... No, not Emma's father. Behind the scenes, Cody's father that attacking, or maybe perhaps... Early on, I remember thinking, Norma and Norman, as perverse as it sounds, would be in the romantic leads.
Oh God!
It was just the sick idea that she said, "Oh, it's the play, Norman. I'm your mother."
Yeah, come on, it'll be fun. I mean, just
yeah,
imagination.
It'd be sick and twisted, but still, that would happen.
All right, but anyways, the moment in question comes when right after kind of a confrontation where afterwards, after Norma works her manipulative magic and gets Norman to be like, no, mother, no, go in, I want you to do this,
Remember, because Norma, she's scared, and she makes a point of saying so. She's scared that she finds out Norman may, in fact, be a killer.
Right.
She's still worried about everything, the world's crumbling around her, poor old Norma, same old. And then, Norman has a good son. He says, no, mother, I'll be crushed. I'll be devastated if we don't do this. Makes a call to Dylan to take care of things. Then he's back in there encouraging Norma.
So he goes in, and this moment is basically... I mean, it's basically just on there because Vera Farmiga just delivers a kick-ass vocal performance.
Tiki, if I may?
Yeah.
I don't have sheet music. Maybe this time I'll be lucky. Maybe this time he'll stay. Maybe this time, for the first time, love won't hurry away. He will hold me fast. I'll be home at last. Not a loser anymore, like the last time and the time before. Everybody in love's a winner, so nobody loved me. Lady peaceful, lady happy, that's what I long to be. All the odds are in my favor.
right.
This time, I'll win.
So essentially, that's what happens.
So yeah, it kind of speaks for itself. Just listening to the lyrics again, there's a lot of reflections in basically Norma's struggles for, to find a love interest, because basically what happens is every single time she gets intimate with anyone, it just always ends devastatingly. That's a running theme with the show, and I feel that this song kind of reflects that.
Oh yeah, so yeah, Norman prefaced that like she said, "Oh, I can't do this," and Norman said, "It'll be fine. You're good at pretending."
Mm. Right,
and she does it. She takes all the emotion she's feeling, that stress and fear and all that, and she directs that. She directs that into into passion for the song, like into the performance of the song. Really, she's singing with no sheet music. And no music behind her, and she's still delivering home. And I gotta say, I'm with you, D. I'm very impressed by her, as we all are. I think it's why we're doing this list, because she does such a darn good job at performing Norma Bates, and even singing too now.
Yeah,
she's knocking it out of the ballpark, just putting so much emotion, almost brings a tear to your eye. Almost, it's really that good a performance.
Yeah, I mean, it really was just like, it's not like a big Norma Bates, like, freak out craziness moment or anything like that, but it's just, it really defines her character. It really is kind of like where she's at emotionally, and it's, it happens like right near the start of season 2, right, in the first couple episodes. I feel like it's kind of a good sort of like, all right, this is what Norma is kind of going through this season.
She's bearing her soul here.
Right.
And essentially what she's saying is a really appropriate song. You're basically saying, I've been kept down, and I've always been kind of losing at life here, but I'm going to come out on top. I'm hoping for the best here.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel, no matter how dark this blasted town is. I'll set it on fire, just like my boy, that sort of thing. But, what I love most about this scene, in this little bit here where she's singing, I love how she gets so into it. Again, you're so entranced by kind of the performance she's given just singing here, and how much emotion she's infusing in it, even though she's trying to hide it. Like, towards the end, she gets a little choked up, and she grabs her purse, and she puts her hand on her face and says, says, maybe this time.
Mm-hmm.
She just chokes it out. I'll win. And just my favorite part towards that ending is that the music comes in when she's talking. She's getting really passionate. And then the music, the score is coming in through it, like, even though there's no piano music or anything.
Yeah,
playing.
right. The non-diegetic score comes in.
The first time I was watching, I was thinking, am I hearing this music or is this real? Oh my God, it's
kind of places your head a little bit, kind of, in the nature of the show.
And no, exactly. It's so perfect with the show, because it's like the voice in the head of the viewers now.
Right.
It's like she's doing such a good job emotionally connecting with the audience and the song here that it's actually permeating the fourth wall.
Exactly.
You're hearing the music because you're feeling it, man. It's like how things go red in the Disney movie when things go bad, like now it's red, but you're not questioning it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
All right, so that's all I have to say about that. Your number 8.
My number 8.
Yes.
Would be there's a moment in season 2 where essentially I kind of call this moment just mothering Romero. Something that just amused me. First of all, just how far Norma's come along in regards to the Sheriff Romero character. The first season, he's a bad guy towards her, comes through at the very end, but overall he's really an untrustworthy, shady guy, and she can't trust him.
Yeah, right.
But
he's
now,
essentially like kind of the face of the shadiness going on in the town. He's like, he's kind of the bulldog who's out to get her.
He's the man who sees himself as God. Now, I love that quote. I love that quote with Romero. Man who thinks he's a god. Or the man with the god complex.
Right.
Anyway, I like how, just seeing how far they've come to that. Even at the beginning of the season, they're somewhat friends with like a rapport of like, I don't trust you, and that's kind of the basis of their friendship. And that's like now they are kind of full-fledged friends, and this show really is when that began. Because first of all, she's questioning, why do you need to come in here? She says, my house burned down. She says, oh, who burned down your house?
But what I love how delighted she is. It's just like, you get the sense like this is like the highlight of her day. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. But my favorite part is in like a scene later on in that episode where after Romero's gotten somewhat warning revenge against Zane, he's saying, "I'll break you. I warned you, I'll break you." Uh, regardless, and he does literally break him. He breaks some bones, perhaps, some facial parts.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Regardless, Romero's coming home. And I love the mundane things. Like, a man who sees himself as God still needs ice for the wound. So he's getting ice in the machine. Like, it's classic. He's going to the motel to get some ice. It's a mundane bit. I love that. But more so, I love the Norma Bates. I love all the adorable things, the subtle, adorable things she always does, like such as saying Norman, or scurrying around, or just being dressed so adorably. But I love how, again, as you mentioned, like, she's delights in Romero not being a god or an imposing god as he usually is. Mm-hmm. And she's driving in and she sees, oh, Romero's at the ice machine. He looks a little wounded. She doesn't stop the car. She turns in to get closer to Romero. It's like she doesn't break the stride of driving. He says, oh my, it's like you're watching an oncoming accident.
Right.
And she turns and then she scurries out of the car and then she says, oh, what happened to you? He says, I don't want to talk about it. He says, what happened? He says, did you do my laundry? Yeah, I did your laundry. He says, well, you don't just come in the people's room to do their laundry. Essentially that, but then my favorite moment is when she kind of turns motherly on him. Mm-hmm. It just shows you how far they've come. They basically says, the wound's fine. Says, and then she just snaps at him and says, no, it's dirty and it's going to get infected. Come inside so I can help you clean.
That just goes to show, she just can't help but just have that motherly instinct just leap out.
I love that. So in a way, then she says, you're coming in there so I can clean the wound. And you go inside. First of all, one could say that hinting at some romance for the future. I'm not denying it. Definitely is a bond between these two, which we'll see in future seasons.
I very much hope so.
Hopefully seasons. But it's a great moment because they're getting a little close and a little personal. But more so, it's the fact that Norma, she's mothering the guy. She's cleaning the wound, but he's like a kid. And another layer to this would be kind of like how Norma Bates, she has an uncomfortable relationship with everybody.
Oh,
not of her own fault, one could argue. And it's because she's had a really terrible life, and because of what happened in her past, she just can't.
Yeah, I'd say there's one specific person that's very much to blame.
Oh yeah, definitely, and it's because of that past. She just can't. I think it's kind of made her blind to the barriers people put up. So it's kind of she's kind of going to uncomfortable levels unintentionally. So she's a little more, well, dare I say, a little, romantically inclined to her son.
Right.
Or at least, she has wrong relationships with people because she just can't see kind of the boundaries. And she does kind of the same thing with Romero. So if Romero is her son, she's kind of getting a little romantically involved. So it's a little bit of that. So yeah, it's not. I think essentially it's not her fault, just because she's kind of dense to the thing because of what happened in her past. So that was just a breaking of trust, brother and sister. And, it's just it screwed up her whole mentality for years to come. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, just the fact she's the mundane thing, she's mothering Romero, and I think it's just funny. It's why it's on the list. This shows you how far they've come in terms of characterizations. Yeah, it's funny.
Okay, so my number 7. This comes in the penultimate episode of season 2, Buried. Or no, I'm sorry, it's not Buried. It's called The Box. Oh my God. Every time I think of that episode, I think of the Ryan Reynolds movie Buried, because it's essentially the same thing, except I actually think The Box does it better in about 20 minutes of screen time. But I digress. So in The Box, Norma, as we've joked throughout the entire season, if anything were to happen to Norman, she would burn the damn town down.
Oh yeah.
And so of course when she finds out that
I'm sorry, Diggy, real quick. One thing I want to point out just cracks me up. One of the after shows Vera Farmiga was on, and they posed that question to her, what would happen if something happened to Norma? I think she said, I'm pretty sure she said something along the lines of she burned the town to the ground. Actually,
I will burn the town to the ground.
She said something along those lines of she'd destroy that town if anything happened to Norman. I know, it's real funny. I like to know it. I kind of hit it on the head somewhat.
Right.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. But So, so when she finds out that the only way that Norman will be safe is if Dylan does in fact go through with whatever Nick Ford wants him to do, Norma just goes over to Dylan's place of business, which she was at the previous episode, and she stares right at that very conspicuous-looking security camera, and she just pulls off one of the best freakouts she's ever done on the show. And the best thing about this moment, Blue Dragon 5, is the fact that you don't hear any of it.
Oh, that too, yes.
Yes. It's like, because it's just like, because we've seen Norma Bates freak out on this show so much, and we are so used to her, we're so used to it, but then to see it and not have the dialogue to go along with it, I just thought added another level of comedy to the whole thing. Not to mention, like, she is really at her most physical. Like, Vera Farmiga is just, like, bouncing around like Yoda at the end of Attack of the Clones. You know what I mean?
She's jumping on the door like all fours in the air. Like that. Like she's like going nuts opening that door. It's like perfect example of like miming, like hilarious miming, like the Norma Bates freak out mind. Like, let me in, but it's all quiet. What's even better, I know it's not really her, but it focused on her, but it's just Remo's reaction to Dylan. I think your mom was in.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's absolutely one of my favorite parts of the moment. It's like it kind of makes the moment, because of course Remo is definitely like one of our favorite ancillary little side characters. He's kind of like developed a little life of his own within the show, and we hope that he sticks around. I did not think he'd make it through season 2 at all. Like, I thought he was like Steve Gomez levels of dead.
Likewise.
But so it was kind of a pleasant surprise that he made it through that whole messy business with Zane raiding Nick Ford's warehouse, because that's totally where I thought he was gonna die.
Right. Back to Norma.
Yes, but
it's a great moment. It's the freak out without words. It just epitomizes how dedicated she is to her son, and she is going to, again, it's kind of getting to that mode where she will burn the town down. I know if Norman died, she would burn that town to the ground instantly. I know that.
Oh yeah.
If Norman was hurt, she'd do it, but still a little slower. And just when he's missing, she's going to freak out, do everything she can to save him, but still, she's not going to worry about courtesy. She's going, let me in! It's like the mother you kind of wish you wanted in terms of dedication, but still not the mother. It's like,
oh God, not the mother you wish you wanted in terms.
It's like Marie Barone, only with a little bit of only a little psychotic.
Oh God. All right, but yeah, that's all I have to say about that. Just kind of a short, quick little nugget of comedy gold there. What's your number 7?
Okay, my number 7. Oh boy, I love this moment for the build, but it's essentially it's the moment where Caleb re-enters the picture.
Oh yeah.
Oh man, this moment's great. First of all, I just love the last episode before this one, like this episode 3 episode. The end of episode 2 was like after like the reconciliation of, oh hey, we got someone convicted for the Blair Witch. Everything's yay, rainbows, we're in the clear. But what happens is, punctuated by a big old moment of tragedy, featuring a member of the Bates family.
Yes.
Caleb walks into the picture. He's looking for the Bates Motel, and we know he's coming. And I just love that. It's kind of like the blood is in the water, we're just waiting for the shark to meet it. Mm-hmm. And essentially now he's followed the trail, he's in the motel. And I just love it. It's like that bomb from Die Hard 3. It's like, the two chemicals, when they meet each other, they're mix and blow up. And essentially, we just wait. Norma Bates is out, so Dylan's like, the tension is building, but it has that pure Alfred Hitchcock build to it. The building suspense. So things are going to get electrical and the energy's going to spark when these two get into frame, because we know the terrible past that these two have with each other. And just, when she walks in that door, this happens. Sorry. Trying to get the old thing queued up here. One sec. Mm-hmm. There we go. Okay. This happens when the two meet.
So long. I thought about this moment so many times, but now that I'm actually you can't let me here. No, don't say that. You have to leave. What's going on? 5 minutes, just 5 minutes. Norma, I understand. Oh my God, yeah, please. What was that?
And just to recap,
What was that?
Oh, that is like truly like. If we were to do a top 5 Dylan moments, what would it be? It would be like the black socks, and then that what was that would definitely be up there. But,
and probably no, I'm not giving you a gun. Probably those three would be on there.
but I digress. This is Norma's moment. So
Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, just to kind of further pad the moment real quick. So yeah, essentially, Caleb's there. Oh, so yeah, Caleb's there, and he's saying, "Oh, Norma, it's so great to see," and just the look on Vera Farmiga's face. Again, wonderful performance. She's saying, and we know what's happened. We've heard about what's happened. Now we're seeing like the actual guy there, and we're feeling bad for Norma instantly. Like, oh boy, she's traumatic ties to this guy. She's not going to do well, and that's the build to it. That's what you love about the moment. But the look on her face like goes from a smile, like, "Oh, hey, Dylan, who's this?" And it's like, "You cannot be here." And then she doesn't really hear him out at all. She throws the groceries like a linebacker. It's understandable. She throws those groceries like a linebacker, grabs him, throws him out the door, throws him to the door, opens the door and just yells that perfect line, "Get out!" Just with as much bravado as she can. Now Norma gets super cynical when she gets into that freaking mode. This is like a burglar comes in the home, sticks a gun next to Norma's head. She cannot stand this guy for what he's done to her in the past. If we're all going, us and the audience, we're all going, "Yay, Norma, get rid of him." Yeah. And we're rooting for Norma. We really are. And we understand. It's coming from the place. This is what's ruined her whole life, this moment, with this guy. And she's throwing that guy out there. We're going, yeah, and the comedy coming from the fact that Dylan has no idea. It's really dark given later on what we find out. Dylan doesn't know. But it's comedic in that Dylan doesn't know what's going on. I was like, what was that? Just funny. Then Norma gives like a really dramatic thing saying, "You are never to let him back in here again." A lot of mystery, a lot of intrigue. But, yeah, so you're just rooting for Norman to get that guy out of there. And when she says get it, it's like the most justified, overreaction she's ever had. But it's justified, though.
Definitely.
Whereas this guy's, and I think there's a missing detail we're going to find out in Season 3 about this guy. But still, overall, from what we know, what I believe, he's a scumbag. This guy deserved it. He deserved worse.
Yeah. Much worse.
Getting thrown out of that room, you feel good. It's a feel-good moment for Norman. It's getting that guy out of there for all the harm he's caused.
To me, the creepiest part is when he's like all like, "Oh man, I've been thinking about this moment so many times, but to actually be here, I'm like, oh god." Just given the context of all of that, it's just
I love rewatching this and seeing Dylan's reaction. I gotta say, just really think about it, especially what we find out later. Finding out that he's the spawn of this dark event.
Oh god.
But it's really it's good. Yeah, it's really good scene. But yeah, you think after all that time thinking about it, he would figure, maybe I should rephrase this. It's pretty much a no-win situation, but still saying, "Oh, I've been waiting for this so long," is not.
Yeah, exactly. Just say like, "Oh man, I've just been like just lolling over in my head and like,
it's like
over and over." It's like, dude, it's like no.
It's like walking up to a rape victim and say, "Can you help me with my zipper?" It's not the wisest thing to say.
Oh god. Oh dear. Okay, so is that all you have to say about that?
pretty much just get out. Yeah.
Yes.
What was that?
All right, so my number six. My number six happens in the very first episode of the series, and I must say, Blue Dragon 5, this is almost kind of like the thesis statement for the whole show right here. It's right after the murder slash just I wouldn't say murder, just the death of Key Summers at the hands of Norma, because she was trying to defend herself and whatnot. Basically the event that starts off the whole show outside.
Guy burst in there, says everything in this house is mine.
Yeah, yeah.
Terrible poor old Norma.
Oh God. And then that's where we get our first Norman, of course. But but right after that, right after that we get one of the best scenes in the whole show, I think, just on a general level, which is when
a really
Norman,
strong scene.
What?
A really strong scene in that first episode.
Oh yeah, when Norman and Norma are out in a boat and disposing of the body, very Dexter-esque, I must say, but in a good way. And so essentially, this is where Norma and Norman just kind of pronounce their their inseparable love for each other. And it's like, okay, we're in the middle of a very dark situation, and I'm sorry to have dragged you into this, but now, more than ever, we have to be close. So it's like, I don't know, it's iconic, man. It's iconic in terms of, I don't know, this show's not old enough for it to be called iconic, but it's just like it really does kind of set in motion everything we need to know about the relationship and that dynamic. What?
It might be iconic. I mean, I told you I watched the place at my workplace when it was airing in the not summer, obviously not summer, but I'm thinking the show's in summer. But earlier in the year when it debuted, it's funny. I'd be watching it at my workplace, and basically people would be coming in, clients. And they'd be watching, and they notice it's on. They say, "What is this? This is that Bates Motel show?" And I said, "Yeah, everyone's heard about it. Everyone has heard about the show."
Yeah, I'm with you. When I tell people about it, it's like,
and they say
usually when I tell people about it, at least one person that they know is watching it. So it's
everyone's interested by it. They either say, "Oh, I've heard about that," or "I want to watch that." I mean, I keep trying to watch that, something like that.
Right.
So the people are going nuts for this show, so I think maybe it's on its way to being iconic. Perhaps.
Okay, yeah. So perhaps.
Anyway, yeah.
I'm just saying the show's still in its first couple seasons.
Right, of course. So both scene.
But yeah, I mean that's really all I need to say. It's like I said, I mean I really just wanted to say that it's just the thesis statement for the whole show. It's just kind of what sets everything in motion, kind of tells you all you need to know about what this very dysfunctional relationship is going to be like between mother and son, and it's going to be awkwardly close and just full of violence and murder, and it's going to be a good time. So,
if I may say something, Tiki.
Yeah.
I gotta say two things about this scene, about this moment here. One, I think it's so well constructed because it goes full circle. At the beginning of the episode, Norma and Norman are in the car, and basically it pays off big time because Norman's saying, "Oh, you're making me do stuff I don't want to do, mother."
Mm-hmm.
Because we were going to this new town, you're forcing me to go, and I don't like it. And then basically, Norman says, "Oh, you're a jerk," whatever, along the lines. It's like playfully, like, "Oh, you so cynical." And then by the end, it's kind of basically says, "You suck." And then at the end, she says, "Norman, I suck. This is terrible. What's happened to us?" And Norman kind of says, "No, mother, it's going to be okay."
Yeah.
And it's a really great bonding scene. And the other thing I want to say about it is that you're right. It's like they're bonding. It's like such a great emotionally connective scene, yet it's over such a macabre thing.
Right.
And that epitomizes Psycho. I mean, deep down, the original Psycho maybe not so much, more so with the series, but deep down, even with the original, there is a love there you have to acknowledge. The love between mother and son, the fact that he's kept her around all these years somewhere, I mean, in his mind, regardless, he's kept her around physically and mentally out of love. And you
Right.
kind of have to respect that. And here you really get to see that love really in action. And you got to respect that. You got to kind of appreciate it. It's kind of touching still over these very macabre things, though.
Oh God.
It was epitomized in that scene perfectly.
And of course, we know, this love is what's going to eventually just tear Norman apart and make him become the monster that he is in the future. So it's
I'm sure we're going to see a lot of that season 3.
Yeah. Well, we'll see about that. We'll see.
We'll see.
All right. So that's all I have to say. Really, what's your number 6?
My number 6. Okay, my number 6. It's a simple one. It's a really nice emotional scene. They kind of go from your emotional scene.
Mm-hmm.
I love the moment. It's in our last episode of season 2. I love the moment where Norma and Dylan they rekindle their damaged relationship. Like they patch up that bridge that was damaged by the fact that Dylan was the son of that rape years ago.
Right.
And it's a really touching scene because Dylan's been through the ringer this season. Again, he's almost died several times.
Several times, yes.
Several times things haven't been looking good for him. He's been going down. He's been spiraling down the hill. Again, once something good happens to Norman, something terrible happens to the other.
Oh, yeah.
And that's been very true for Dylan. Dylan's been really on his own this season without the family. It's funny because, again, in season 1, as we mentioned in our moments before, he gets let in on the loop of like what's happening with Norman, so he feels that he's part of the group. And at the beginning of this season, he's like paying Norma rent and stuff.
Right.
He's in on. He's the provider. He's the strong protector of the family. He's trusted. He's beloved. However, he finds this out. Finds a huge lie about him. He feels like, I guess, how Norman feels. It's something that should bond them together even more. Big old secret, which hopefully will be paid off in season 3. Point is, Dylan, he's let out. He has this huge bomb drop. You are the product of this dark tragedy. I didn't want you around because of you. I favored Norman over you all these years because you ruined my life. And he can't take that. He spirals out of control down a dark path. He finds his own way into very dangerous situations, becoming his own man but still surviving. And then he sees his mother, though. He's still the mother, and the family's always been in his mind. He's reconnects Norma in this moment of need, but Norma now understands. She's been through the ringer too, and she says, "Dylan, She just says what she's been wanting to say since that moment that Dylan walked out of the house. She says to Dylan, "Look, I'm so sorry about what happened. You are absolutely right. I should have trusted you more." And basically says the most beautiful line that she said, and I hope I'm not butchering it too much by misremembering it, but I believe she says. She's like, she's going through the emotional ringer. First of all, she says, Norman and I were heading out. Norman and I were heading to Canada? Yeah, Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal, yeah.
Yeah, Norman and I are heading to Montreal overnight, and basically says, "Norman, do you realize how bad an idea this is?" "Yes, I know, but listen, we're going. I bought an extra ticket for you." Says, "You bought me a ticket?" I love the way he delivers that line.
That's great. I love that
line
right there.
Oh, I love Max Theria as Dylan. Again, young Bruce Wayne quality, this guy. And I love the way he just delivers that simple line of just saying, "You bought me a ticket?" He's such like a little kid, and he's like, "Mom does love me."
Right.
It's perfect. And then after that line, then Norma says this great line. Says, "Yeah, I know, Dylan. I'm so sorry about what happened. And what happened with you? It's a miracle. Essentially, she says, you are a miracle. It's a miracle that you get something so wonderful as you coming at something so dark like that."
Oh yeah.
And then Dylan doesn't say any more words. He just holds her close in a hug. It's a great, it's a hallmark moment in a show full of murder.
Yeah, I mean, it really was like kind of the emotional centerpiece of the whole finale, really. I mean, and all the stuff, and all the twisted, dark stuff going on with Norman and everything. It really was kind of like the one really kind of uplifting moment. So it's like we'll see where that bond goes from there and heading into the future.
It really, it almost brings a tear to your eye, just the pure emotion brought by these two actors and these characters in this scene. It's really impressive to me to know, and how could I not put this on the list? It's a wonderful moment, and it just shows you she is truly at the core of it. She is a mother who does care about this child, and she didn't push him away because she kept it a secret to protect his feelings.
Right.
Deep down, maybe, yes, she did try to distance them because it's a memory of the dark past. But she's come now, she's a big character arc for her. She's realized, I can't put these dark things behind me because of what's happened with Norman. These dark things just can't be pushed back. She has a big character arc for her characters. Like, I have to acknowledge these dark things. I have to move past them. I have to make them work.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
she realizes in that moment that things with Norman, it's hopeless. Things are happening. Stuff is hitting the fan right now. All pulling all the stops here. I got to make things right, and she does that. However, one could still argue, real quick, underneath it all, it could be manipulation because I want Dylan to come with us. I'm going to say whatever it takes to get him to go with us.
Yeah, and that's really, it's kind of the interesting thing about the Norma character in general, is that one could argue that, like, a lot of her interaction, especially, like, kind of basically her whole relationship with Emma, is kind of based on manipulation in a way.
Exactly. But still, I'm kind of like in the camp that says it's a little mix of both, like unintentionally, but still maybe deep down it is manipulation in certain aspects.
I mean, it's like, you get the sense that Norma just can't help but manipulate people, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah. Well,
it's not really her fault, it's just, like, kind of in her nature.
The thing about it, at her core, she's going to be mistrusting because someone who was her brother, supposed to be there to protect her, took advantage of her in such a gruesome way. So of course she's going to be like that. She's going to be distrusting of everyone, so she's going to make sure she has the odds in her favor.
Oh yes, oh yes.
So regardless, So regardless, it's a great emotional moment. You see how much she does truly love Dylan as a son. She's saying, she's letting him in the loop again, and hopefully it goes well.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so you ready to get to the top 5?
Top 5.
Yes, the top 5.
No, I'm saying, yeah, let's go in top 5. Let's do it.
All right, let's do it. So my number 5, this is perhaps like one of the more relatable Norma moments for me. Right after she does the whole big South Pacific number, she gets befriended by this socialite woman named Christine, who is kind of the source of a bit of drama in season 2, but I digress. Christine, she invites Norma to go to this essentially just a rich person party where it's like, oh yes, look,
it's a soiree.
Let's just gather around and compare our yearly salaries. Oh yes, let's just bask in our own money. Essentially, it's a gathering that would make Walter White very upset. Dragon 5. I'd say that's safe to say.
Where's the Breaking Bad jar when you need it?
Empire Walter White.
Yeah, gray matter does not sit well with Walter White, but yeah.
Yes. Like, rich people who have money and gloat about it do not sit well with Walter White.
Especially ones he's had romantic flings with.
Exactly. But, so Norma, I just love how nervous and awkward Norma is in this whole scene. It's like, it's all over Vera Farmiga's face. She portrays it perfectly. Like, basically from the moment she walks in, even, like, walking up to the door, she passes that one guy, she's just kind of like, hi. It's like, she's just, she's completely out of her element. She's a fish out of water. And so, she finally gets herself into a conversation circle. And I must say, like, as someone who is very much an introvert myself, it's like, just the idea of parties in general kind of freaked me out. It literally, just on a very primal level, it's like, just the idea of, like, all these people in a room and the conversation being so freeform. That's what I like about doing YouTube videos so much, is like, you and me, we get together, we talk about stuff, we have a very specific thing that we're talking about, you know what I mean? When it comes to social conversation, it's an entirely different thing, because it's entirely freeform, and if you say the wrong thing, and you have to kind of appease everybody, and if somebody gets offended, then the whole mood of the circle, I don't know, I digress.
It's like this, I'll say one thing about me in this sort of situation, like, I can talk, I can mingle, I can do the whole 9 yards. Yet when I'm with my family during the holidays and the big family gatherings, I can't stand it.
Really? Because I'm like the opposite, man. I get along really well with my family, but it's like, but when I'm around strangers, I am just like.
I'm saying, like, outside the core 5 members, it's like.
Oh, okay, yeah, right. I hear.
Going with the extended family, I hate being down there. I try to retreat as much as I can during those things. Like, I can't take it.
Well, I think I've already made this joke before, but I don't know. I'll say it again. At my grandma's house during Christmas, it is literally like the shit-talking Olympics. Because it is like everyone is gathered there. And it's like I'm usually just hanging out with my little brother in a back room, and I'll just listen to the conversation, and it's just like, oh, blah, 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 this person, this person, this person.
I mean, all the chairs are taken.
There's like what?
I mean, all the chairs are taken. I'm standing there like a moron. I don't know what to say. I want to get out of there.
Like each year, there's like a new like topic of interest that people are talking about. Like it could be like a big divorce that went on or something like that. And I always have this picture in my head because everyone is like keeping track of how much alcohol everyone else has. Like basically everyone is getting pissed drunk at the same time and judging everyone else for getting pissed drunk. So I just get this idea in my head that they've got like this chart of like how many drinks each individual person has had, and they're just keeping track. Oh my god, it's ridiculous.
All right, back to Norma. So yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, so she goes into the circle, and she tells the story about about people falling off the Grand Canyon, and it's like usually when you fall off the Grand Canyon, it's not it's people actually posing for taking pictures of falling off the Grand Canyon, like, oh, hey, honey, take my picture, she does this whole kind of bit. And I can relate to that so much, because it's like, with me, it's always kind of comedy that breaks the ice with me in terms of social situations. It's gotta be, because that's what I am. I'm depressed as fuck. I mean, I'll admit that in terms of...
that's a funny joke if you ask me, but I do like kind of the tragedy. Like, she bonds with people over death.
Right, exactly. But as for me, it's like, I do have kind of clinical depression, much like Jew Wario. I made a whole video about it. So it's like, much like any, I don't know, I feel like that's kind of the same way with a lot of comedians, a lot of stand-up comedians in general. They get a lot of their material just based off of their own unique and entirely pessimistic view of the world. So I feel like I'm the same way. It's like, really, I just relate to her so much, and I'm just so awkward around other people and around social situations like this.
But in all likelihood, how can you not love Norma Bates? I mean, come on, look at her. She's adorable. I mean, you have to be an alien not to like Norma Bates.
Well, again, as we were discussing, it's not really so much about how people perceive her, it's about how she perceives herself in her own head, and it's kind of like that for me, you know what I mean? Because it's like I feel like I generally tend to come off as a rather likable guy, except I feel like I beat myself up too much. I mean, I feel like anyone who knows me, like, that's kind of obvious. It's like, because there's certain things with me, it's like the fact that I medically cannot get a driver's license for pretty much the same reasons Norman can't get a driver's license, basically just anxiety-related issues. So I have stuff like that going on where I can get down on myself. So it's like, but with Norma, she has even more, it's like she has, like we were saying, she has like all the reason in the world to not trust anyone. So it's like with her, it's like that added element of just, like, I don't know, it's got to be tough, you know what I mean?
Right.
So it's like, yeah, people love her, but it's like, it's just a matter of loving yourself. I don't know. I could do a whole podcast on this, but
Tiki therapy.
But anything else you have to say about this moment?
No, great moment. I like how she mingles well with the crowd. Again, when you think about kind of macabre joke, but it's fine. Like, that's the public face she puts on. It still works well, even though she's insecure underneath. Good scene.
Yeah, right, exactly. So, all right, so what's your number 5?
Oh, I love this scene. Oh, boy, I really love it. It's so, if I could sum it up one word, it's twisted, but it just fits the show so well. It's like the equivalent, it's like this, like, really, truly worthy, even more so than just the Emma life expectancy thing, but it's along those lines. I contemplate putting some other scenes on here, such as, Norman and Norma sleeping in bed together, but it's along those lines.
Oh God!
It's the scene where so speaking of Emma and Norma, first of all, adorably, they form a team now that they're buddies.
Mhm.
And they go on like it's like an old buddy cop movie. They're going on a stakeout. They're going to run some, and well, actually, they're going to run some errands. But then Emma points out that Emma points out, oh yeah, that's the Norma asks like, is Norman seeing someone? And Emma says, yeah. Yeah, no, it says Norman slept with somebody. He says, yeah. Any idea who? He says, it's probably Bradley. And then she sees, she says Bradley. Then says, where's this girl, Bradley? And then basically says, she should be doing yoga around here, actually. And then she peers around the corner and says, yeah, that's her right there in the pink. And then striking her, as Tiki is what put it, her yoga pose.
Yes,
Let's
yes,
just
her
say,
evil yoga pose.
yeah, evil, seductive yoga pose. Let's just say, revealing the wings of the butterfly, if you'd be so kind. But
The crazy eyes, man. Her eyes are just like
which ones?
Bradley's.
Yeah. So. Yeah, I like how big her eyes are, though. I like that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're just popping out at that moment.
Well, it's yoga. I think you do weird stuff in yoga. But regardless, what I love most in this one is two things. First of all, there's many things, but just 2 to 3 things real quick. First of all, I love the music that plays in this scene. It's so psychological. I love it. But more so, I love how, first of all, we got really focused. Like, the camera loves her. It could be incidental, but I'm pretty sure it's on purpose. Like, they're focusing on the womanly parts of Bradley.
Oh God.
The yoga poses. And it's like through Norma's eyes, first of all, which is great. But I love so much is that Norma, she looks at Bradley, first of all, kind of like some horror. Because first of all, she recognizes this girl. This is the girl that came by the house in the first episode.
Oh.
So she instantly didn't like the girl. Because again, she's jealous of any girl in Norman's life. And
Well, I mean, to be fair, I said this in our review of season 1, but I really did not like the fact that Bradley is basically like, she's just like, oh, I'm just gonna take this innocent-looking guy and just kind of like, just mess with him. I don't know. It's like we got a lot into their relationship in season 1, but she really did make a bad opening impression.
I'll give you that opening impression, but I liked her as time progressed. But anyway. So just taking it to the ad nauseum level, Norma imagines kind of the same way Norma will have, almost how Norma will have blackouts or something, or flashbacks to certain things. Norma imagines Bradley defiling her son. It's just, I love how it's shot. I love the whole scene. I love it. He's cut to Norma's face, then we cut to inside what she's in her mind of what she's thinking. It's like Norman being like thrown up against the wall with his shirt off, and then Bradley doing the deed. And I just love how as Bradley disappears, then it cuts back to Norma's face, and just like she is not like Vera Farmiga is great, doing so much acting without even moving.
Yeah.
It's a wonderful job. It communicates so much as Norman. When you can just feel the hate burning off Norman, you can feel kind of it's so many emotions. It's first of all, it's fear that this girl's going to take Norman away. Second of all, fear that there's the realization this slipped past me. And third realization of like, I do not like this girl.
Oh no, not one bit.
It's wonderful. It's wonderful stuff. It
really is like simultaneously like really good character building and pretty creepy and hilarious. So it's like it's got a lot of things going for it.
Yeah. Well, essentially, what Norma would be thinking to herself would be this.
I don't think you're a nice girl.
Oh yes. Oh yes. Oh yes. Yes. All right. Well, is that all you got to say about that?
Great scene, very well shot. And hold on one second, I'm going to pull up here. I meant to pull it up earlier when we were talking about Georgie Boy, but
oh god.
one sec. I know you've been waiting for this, so I just wanted you to hear it. So the way Norman feels about George can pretty much be summed up with this phrase here.
I don't think you're a nice man.
Did you hear it?
Wait, what was that? What was that?
I'm sorry, are you quoting Dylan, or are you actually asking me?
No, I am asking you, and I quoted Dylan at the same time.
Well, let's play it again.
I don't think you're a nice man.
Yeah, I know, but when does he say that? I don't remember. Does he say that like directly to George?
No, he doesn't. But I got that from the Comic-Con Bates Motel thing where he actually was talking to the fake Norman Bates guy.
Oh, really? Oh, God. Great. Oh, that's wonderful.
What he say? Basically, he goes from Freddie Highmore, saying, "Oh, hello, I'm walking on the set here, yeah, pip pip cheerio," and he's walking there, and he sees Norman Bates walking out of the Bates Motel house, and then he just turns to Norman and says, "What do you think you're doing at my motel?" He says, "Oh, I'm kind of in the scene, son. I hate to be disrespectful, I'm kind of in the middle of the scene. I don't think you're a nice man. Nice men don't steal people's motels or sets of motels or, well, you know what I mean." Funny stuff. Anyway. Yeah, that pretty much does it for this moment. I love it. It's just so twisted and psychological, just showing how deeply connected the two of them are, and just on such sick and wrong levels. I had to put one sick and wrong moment just to epitomize what's sick and wrong about this relationship, and put it on there.
The whole basis of the show is just sick and wrong, just relationship-wise. It's just like, hey, want to see a sick and wrong relationship between mother and son? That's somehow kind of charming and heartwarming at the same time.
As tempted as I was to put the visual thing of just the two of them literally in bed together, I couldn't help but just put the one with the sheer emotion of it in like this moment.
Well, yeah, we have to have the evil yoga pose. I mean, that's just a classic.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. So my number 4.
As I like to call it, the defiling of Norman.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
So, anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
All right, so my number 4 is probably the quickest out of like any of the moments on this list, actually. But oh god, it's glorious. It's just absolutely just fantastic.
1 second, I got it here, Tiki. Just give me a second. Go ahead.
Wait, are you sure you know what it is?
I'm pretty sure I know it, but say it though. Say it.
Okay, well, Norma, she is just walking down the street, and
No, I'm sorry, I don't have a tiki. It's another moment, but keep going.
Oh, okay. It's
sorry.
Norma's walking down the street. She bumps into this guy, and oh, this is just so great. It just summarizes her character. She bumps into this guy, and she's just like, "Oh, I'm sorry." And then the guy is just like, he just gives off a very passive-aggressive, just like, "Yeah, I guess." And first of all, it's like,
dude, that guy's a jerk.
We just always run into people like that, and don't we always just like want to yell exactly what Norma yells? She just like, that's what we love about the Norma Bates character. It's like she holds her emotions to the wind, and it's just like she just lets out just, very loudly for all the public to hear, "Screw off, shithead!" Oh, it is just wonderful. It is fantastic.
Well, actually, I think the context of the scene is like, I think that's when Abernathy's starting to stir up some trouble, if I'm right.
Yeah, right.
I could be wrong, but I think that's either that. I don't think it's after. No, it's not after she found out she's financially underwater. But yeah, I think it's around then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I honestly don't even know what more to say about it, except it's just wonderful. It's comic gold. It's
like a relatable moment with Norma Bates. We all want to say that. Norma Bates, luckily, is the character who can say that.
Right. I mean, it's like, I cannot tell you, with all my anxiety issues and everything, I cannot tell you how many times I wanted to just, like, go off on people. Like, and sometimes I will, I will admit it, but, I don't know, it's just, it just humanizes her so much, because it's just...
We've all got a breaking point, however, Norman Bates is, like, more, turns on a dime, if you'd be so good. Turns on a dime.
Right. Oh, and it's just like, kind of like, it's small, it kind of happens out of nowhere, it doesn't really have a lot of significance to anything, but it's just memorable. It's memorable as hell.
It's like whenever Norma freaks out, it's as awesome as whenever Bryan Cranston shouts.
Oh god, Bryan Cranston.
Pretty much the equivalent.
They're gonna send us back to the Stone Age!
I need to know. I deserve to know. Anyway, okay. So number 4.
Yeah, you're number 4.
Okay, my number 4. It's a really great emotional moment here. Oh, I love this moment. I debated putting. I almost wanted to put kind of the vision of from the mind for this moment, but I think it's so much more powerful, the telling of this moment. Norma's rape story.
Oh God.
I love Vera Farmiga. This scene is definitely on here because it's just her acting is probably at her most impressive here. And I'll admit, in retrospect, looking at this list, she's a great actress through all of these. Though I think this is her best performance. So I kind of wish I ranked it higher, but it's so many good moments.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so yeah, this moment is so great. Her acting is flawless. Because first of all, a lot has happened in this building up to this moment. So basically, she is like a we'll meet at dawn type moment, where basically she's most likely going to die if she doesn't kill a man. She has a shootout planned with Abernathy, pretty much, basically deliver the money, which she does not have, or she will get her head blown clean off.
Oh God.
unless she shoots the guy, which now she's trained with, but still, new person with a gun here.
Uh-huh.
So things aren't looking good for her, so she's kind of thinking to herself in these final moments as Norman's getting ready to meet Emma for the dance, go off to the dance. Norman, basically he's just sitting there waiting. And Norma turns to him, and I guess Norma's been mulling over things like, what's the last thing I'm going to say to my son if this is the last thing? I got to leave him with something important here without making him worry over me. Or something. You basically keep me in his mind always. Which in the grand scheme of things is kind of a cruel thing to do.
Oh, yeah, really kind of twisted. Oh, yeah.
Like, why would she tell it now? Like, it's because she really wanted to tell him before she died, I guess. It's like something he should...
Yeah.
She's basically about to drop a big bomb of truth on Norman here. So if she's going to do something, she's going to be very honest with her son before she dies. Anyways, I love how it's shot, because it really pays off next time, because I love it's shot from Norman's POV, of her turning to him and saying, when I was a little girl, when I was a young girl, my brother would go into my room and make me have sex with him.
Oh, God.
I love how that's shot. I love how that shot, just from Norman's perspective, just makes it feel so impersonal and uncomfortable.
Uh-huh. Right.
And it comes back next season. I love that. They had a plan for that.
Oh, yeah, big time.
It's so well shot, it's so personal, it's so quiet, and you feel so bad for Norma. She's telling you this, and you can picture in your head. Am I right, Tiki?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And you're absolutely right. It comes at, like, just a perfect time, like, thematically in the season. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Like
it's really kind of like, it's almost kind of like a eulogy almost. Well, not a eulogy, but kind of like her last words, her last will and testament to Norman almost.
Yeah, it's interesting because in the halfway point, she delivered a big bomb of truth to Dylan to get him to stay.
True,
and
yeah.
It just shows
at the end of season 2, she also delivers another big bomb of truth to Norman.
Of course.
So kind of a running theme there.
Of course. But yeah, she's essentially she's delivering these bombs of these bombs of truth at very key moments.
He's just a truth terrorist that Norma based.
Well, not yet. She's getting there, but not yet. I'm sure she's got a few skeletons in that closet there.
Oh yes.
Remember, it was funny. Real quick, it was funny on the making on that Freddie Highmore thing I just mentioned to you. We saw the inside of the writers' room, and they're making jokes. But it was like an inside joke. Basically, they said,
right.
"What are we gonna do for Norman this season?" This is for season 2, by the way. Technically, they were saying, "Okay, what if Norma in her youth was like part of a circus and she was like a glass eater in a circus?" So I like the circus part.
Oh God.
It was really funny. It was like Carlton Q was like, "Oh, I like the circus part." Basically, Norma has a complex past we haven't even gotten into yet.
Oh, Carlton. Oh, jeez.
Anyway.
I mean, I have had a relationship with Carlton Cuse through 6 seasons of Lost, so I am very familiar with that guy's sense of humor.
Anyway, but yeah, she's it comes at a very key moment. But what I love so much about this scene is that she's so descriptive and just it sucks you in. She's such a good actress. She sucks you in to the moment. You're with Norma during these moments when she's describing such detail, saying you'd be like almost every day until he moved out.
Right.
And then basically the moment really just wraps me into it. The moment just like grabs me, the viewer, by the throat and gets me into it. Is when she says this line. Because first of all, we've seen the scar on her leg for a few episodes now. Now, I mean, we saw it way back in episode 2, actually. And I was wanted to paint it off, and then this episode basically said, "Oh yeah, scar from hot chocolate."
Yeah, hot chocolate. Oh yeah.
And we find out it's a burn mark, and I was wondering, like, well, what's the deal with that? Well, okay, hot chocolate's kind of weird, but I think she's lying. And we find out
Right,
here,
right.
I love how she delivers this. Like, I can feel the terror burning off her memory. It's so distinct and so wonderful that she's saying, well, then, I forgive Norman, so, like, what happened next or whatnot. She just, I can't really, as great as Freddie Highmore is, I'm more focused on her in this scene.
Mm-hmm.
And essentially she's saying, well, one day, we thought my parents were out. He thought our parents were out, and then my father came home early. And I got scared. I got so scared I jumped, and the hot ironing board, the hot iron fell on my leg as I jumped up, and as I thought he was going to kill him. And he chased him out of there as if he was going to kill him. And I like it. I didn't even mention if he did or not, but it was presumed that he did not die. But anyway, there will definitely be some ramifications for that. Regardless, though, just as her with I can feel the fear in her voice. It's such emotionally gripping scene, and Norma just has no. It's not even we're with Norma in just a moment. We want to hug Norma.
Oh,
we hug Norma, we're like, oh, there, Norma. And we get it's even worse. It makes what's so great about this moment too, and the time we find it out is that we think back to all the moments before where she's been raped.
Sure.
Raped by Keith Summers, and technically, even though it's kind of voluntary, even by Zach Shelby.
Oh, yeah, I mean, there's definitely the thing with Shelby, yeah, of course.
Think about that moment where she's...
Blondie Cop, he's just a nice, he's just a lovely, wonderful gentleman who happens to run a sex slave ring. Not a big deal, no biggie.
But I mean, think about that moment. Think about that moment where she's distracting him so he doesn't find the girls in the place, where she's like just taking it.
Sure.
And you feel, and looking back on with that knowledge in Hannah, what the big secret was from her past, you just think about, oh my God, that must be so traumatic for her. Really, good stuff. And just something from this moment that when you think about it, the only man she trusts in her life is Norman, because all the other men in her life have victimized her, or she can't trust them.
Oh yeah.
And it's when she finds out the thing with Shelby, like she is crushed emotionally because of she finally finds a man she thinks she can trust that's going to bail her out of the fire, and no, not the case. Romero's kind of being that guy right now.
He really is, and it's funny the way that worked out because Shelby was like, he was originally like her savior from Romero.
Because Romero, she didn't trust Romero at first at all. Now she's starting to trust Romero. Now she's starting to trust Dylan. But regardless, before she didn't trust anyone. She was afraid of Dylan because of that. Not afraid of Dylan, but she didn't let Dylan in because of the fact that he was spawned from this traumatic event. So regardless, it's a great moment, very powerful, and of course, and then it's a wonderful sound because after this emotional moment, then Norman's he feels so bad for his mother, and he hugs her, and then basically she sees him off, and it's like she tells Norman this moment, even like she hugs Emma too. Emma's like, what's up with this? But okay, he writes it off as your mother's a very nice woman, Norman.
Right.
And then I love the moment she's just watching these two kids go out and says, you know what, if I'm going to leave my son-in-law, at least it's with this girl.
Mm-hmm.
Sure, the girl is going to die, but still.
Anyway, so.
But still, for 10 years, she's in good hands. He's in good hands for 10 years. And it's one of mine. Still, she's like, I raised my kid in good hands. I let him know the big truth I haunted me my whole life. I was honest with my son. I didn't tell him the big truth about what he did to his father, but still, I let him in on some truth. Hopefully, that's going to be enough to get him through life without me.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's a very loving scene. It's wonderfully shot. Everything about it is fantastic. Wonderful acting of Vera Farmiga. Fantastic.
All right. So my number 3. This is basically, I like to think of this moment as kind of like a compliment to the disposing of the body moment. Because it really is, it comes in the first episode of Season 2, and it really sets the tone for where we're going with this season. And, I feel like they did a kind of advertise, essentially it's right at the start, and Norma and Norman are looking out over the no vacancy sign at the hotel.
Oh, that's a great moment.
And it's so simple, it's like, and of course, Norma's just got Norman in just kind of a loving embrace, and she's just like, oh God, I love this line, Blue Dragon 5. I love it. It's like, remember the first night we turned on the no vacancy sign? Oh, it just goes to show. It's like Norma kind of treats this whole relationship with Norman as like more than slightly romanticized, to put it lightly.
I just in the mind of Norma Bates, I'm thinking and what's in her head sometimes, but when she thinks about her life with Norman and what she intended it to be.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's like a little picture on a fridge that a kid would make, like stick figures or whatever. It's like a happy little smiling Norman Bates, a little Norman Bates with a motel in the back with the steps. It says, me. It just says me and Norman.
Oh,
like smiley face with the sun, something like that.
I want to draw that in paint.
Yeah. That's what like a finger painted thing a kid would make to see me and Norman, yay, or something.
Yay!
Like Norman had like a little pretty dress on.
Smiling and has sunglasses.
Maybe sunglasses. I don't know. If it's summer, I guess sunglasses, sure. But yeah, it's a nice little moment. It's not even a moment. I'm just thinking of what's in her mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So, like I said, it kind of sets the tone for the whole season because it's like basically it's all about sort of like, and I do love the fact that we start the season off like the very first thing we get of Norma in the present day is we see her in that great little scene where the music's playing and it's summer and bam, lo and behold, for the first time in the series, Bates Motel is full of activity and thriving with people. And it's just such a great, like, sort of jovial moment. It's like, oh, yeah, way to go, Norma. She got the business up.
Yeah. Good for her. Everything seems fine. But, in that moment, I gotta say, yeah, that moment where they're staring out at the motel, it is great. In retrospect, it's really brilliant because, at the beginning of the season, we see they're so close, everything's going so well. And at the end, I'm sorry, I'm not stepping on your thing, am I?
Mm-hmm.
I can keep going?
Yeah, but you're right. It's like, they're in a kind of like, really the whole season kind of like deconstructs that relationship that's established in that scene a little bit. You know what I mean? It's kind of like the whole season sort of puts the Norma and Norman relationship to the test. I feel like basically the whole point of season 2, really the whole main theme of season 2, the big storyline they wanted to put out there was Norma and Norman are going to have their relationship tested and they're going to come out of it the other side more devoted to themselves than ever.
Oh, yeah. And
I feel like that's exactly what happened. I feel like that's exactly what we got for season 2. So that kind of paves the way for season 3, like now that their relationship is just at this, like Norman, it's like at this point he just cannot survive without his mother. You know what I mean? It's like after going through all this traumatic stuff with the Blair Watson event and everything, and of course we've got it set up in his head that his mother's kind of going to be like, kind of an enabler in a way. So, oh god, kind of all kinds of crazy stuff.
Yeah, but I love
how it ties all back in.
Yeah, by the end, I think it's an interesting reverse. And at the beginning, they were so happy, so together, and like, everything's going well. And at the end, they were to the point of like such distrust between the two, more so with Norman distrusting his mother completely.
Right.
Which really interesting, but. Yeah, it's a nice little moment. What just a cool idea just kind of crossed my mind that they could do for like a season or so for next season, or like just as a visual thing. Either a bad guy or someone, maybe even Norman. I have this shot in my mind of like it's the night out time. We have the sign on, but they could do this for like the teaser of season 3, or a future one. Basically, all you see is like the signs on. It's like it's the only bright light in the whole dark area. And then someone turns the sign off. Like you hear maybe like a sound like boosh.
Oh. Yeah, I mean it's great how the show, the sign really is it's the main opening sequence for the show. The sign really does have it's really kind of like the main visual element of the show. It's really kind of like the icon of the show in a way.
Hmm.
So
oh yeah. Well, it's literally the opening shot.
Well, yeah. All right, so that's all I have to say. Just like I said, it's that moment's just on there because it just sets everything up for season 2 so well. So what's your number 3?
It's funny you mentioned some stuff when you picked that moment, because my number 3 is actually in the last episode.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, my moment is basically the moment where Norman, he has the gun and he's running into the woods, and Norma's trying to stop him, and then basically what she says, the snap map. I love the tension in that moment, Hitchcockian tension. Like, of course, it would have been more tension if he was going to threaten to kill her, but still, he's threatening because we know he's going to be all right.
Yeah, right.
Again, the only safe character is Norman. So threatening him's
Exactly.
not really going to
I do
help.
think, like, I'm glad that wasn't like the cliffhanger for an episode or something, because that would have really pissed me off. Like, oh, is Norman gonna kill himself? I wonder. Well, unless they're gonna pull like a gigantic twist.
Yeah, but I love just the.
Wait, Blue Dragon 5. I just came up with an idea, just really quick. I'm sorry. What if the big twist of the series is that instead of Norma dying, it was actually Norman who died, and we see the ramifications and Norma essentially turns into a psychopath from that? Eh? Huh? I'm just kidding. Alright, go on.
Anyway, I was trying to think my place here. Okay, so yeah. Essentially, sorry. So essentially, basically, she talks Norman down from killing himself, and I love how she, Norman says, "I killed my father, didn't I?"
Mm-hmm.
And yet, it's kind of paying off that whole thing. Mother, what do I do? Not really paying that off. Where Norman basically asks me, how can you tell? Basically, she says, yes, you blacked out and you saved me from him, or you blacked out and you killed him. He said, how can you ask me to live after that? And here's the line she says. Really, I love this scene for. It just shows you how connected they are. And really, even if they're going through these rough patches, they are going to come back to each other at the end of the day. She says something along the lines of, you can't do this, North. If you die, I die. Essentially, he's saying she has the line, we are the same person, which is such a fitting line. It's such a darkly ironic and fitting line, because they are the same person. Especially in later years, they will become, technically right now, they are the same person, to a degree. When he blacks out, he does.
To a degree, yeah, right. And
when he goes full blackout,
from there.
When he goes full blackout, he becomes Norma, so it's a really darkly twisted line.
Oh, yeah.
But still, just saying, we are still the sentiment behind it. We are the same person. We are emotionally connected. I can't live without you, and I get a sense you can't live without me. So we need each other in our lives. And she's always kind of padded through second season, basically saying, even through first season, if I'm remembering correctly, just saying that we need each other. Just saying, we deeply care about each other. So we need to be in each other. We need to be in each other's lives. We even had that great moment in this season, basically saying, something along the lines of, that wasn't part of the deal. We'd always be there for each other. All that stuff.
Right. Yeah, like he says something like, "You changed the rules."
Yeah.
But I did find that line very fascinating. You know what I mean? Because it's like, the whole idea of rules to me is something that I've always kind of lived by as kind of a wannabe writer. I mean, I admit I haven't written anything for a couple years, but like when I was taking creative writing classes, I always loved the idea of establishing a universe or a fictional setting or any sort of fictional idea with you've got to have rules. Back to the Future has rules. Jurassic Park has rules. You know what I mean? And Inception, perfect example. So really that whole line about rules, that really got to me, because I'm really big on that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
so I'm sorry.
It's a really touching scene, just the drama of the moment just brought home by this human emotion of I'm going to kill myself. And again, Norman, in the grand scheme, he's about to do a very noble thing.
Right.
But in the context of the personal matters, no, it's not a noble thing. It's like, yourself, so you're taking us away from the wonderment that is you, Norman. But now he knows this dark truth about himself, and essentially he fears he's going to become an out-of-control monster, which sadly he will become.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and
God.
Essentially she's saving the monster here, and the monster wants to put himself out of the world's misery. But in a weird way, Norma, she saves this monster that will endanger lives in the future. But still, it's the connection that's basically a loved one telling another loved one, don't kill yourself. It will kill me inside. We belong in each other's lives. I love you. It's a wonderful moment.
Mhm.
It's a hallmark moment within a murder, within a show about murder.
All right, yeah, really good.
It's a wonderful moment. Really touching between mother and son with twisted emotional ties.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so my number 2. This is oh boy, oh god.
I know this moment. I can sense it. I got it this time.
Go
ahead.
Well, you know what one of my moments going to be. So the question is if that moment is going to be number 1 or number 2.
That's what I'm saying. So you go ahead.
I don't think it's the one you're thinking of. I think
okay.
So this vote, Norman and Norma are driving.
Nope, it's not the moment.
Yeah, I thought so.
Okay,
you know what my number 1 is.
I know that's your number 1.
What it is.
Go ahead. Go.
Oh yes, of course it's my number 1. But
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So Norman and Norma, Norma is, it's just very typical. It's very typical mother-son activity. It's driving lessons, And I must admit, like I said before in this episode, driving is something that I am most likely never going to do in my life, just because of, all kinds of anxiety issues that I have, and I literally feel like if I drove, I would black out. Like, that's literally what I feel like in terms of my potential to actually drive a vehicle. So it's like...
it'd be awesome.
What?
Having a driver.
Hell
I gotta say, if I ever want a bunch of money, I don't know if I go for all the extravagant stuff aside from just buying everything in a store, but I gotta say, the main thing, have a driver for life.
Right.
Simple thing, just I want someone to drive me around. That's pretty much it.
It'd certainly be better than taking the bus everywhere and relying on that. Oh god. But anyways,
go ahead.
So it's like with driving, it's like I can totally relate to like how stressful this situation is. It's like, let me just say, like the few times I've actually tried to drive a vehicle, I've wound up with it on the right on the curb. Like, oh my god, it's awful. It's awful. Like, me behind the wheel is not something that society needs. But Norman, he's doing the best he can, but Norma, she is just like, oh god, she's just like on razor's edge. She's just like doing everything, commanding everything, just barking out orders. And then the best part of this scene comes when Norman wants to pass someone, and so Norma, in her delightful glory, she just, oh god, she just screams when he goes into the other lane. She's just like, floor it! Floor it! Floor it! Floor it! Floor it!
Oh, I love it. If you're going to pass someone, you should do it now. So maybe I'm thinking about passing him, Mother. It says if you want to pass him, you should pass him now. Floor it! Floor it! Floor it!
Floor it!
Do you know what I love about this moment, Tiki?
Mm.
I love mundanity and things, and it's hilarious. It's hilarious so well. First of all, it's hilarious in the fact it's just a mundane thing of like learning how to drive.
Right.
Like that's the runner through the season. It does have a big payoff towards the end. And and secondly, the other thing I really love about it, I love just the fact that these are the moments that are going to stick in Norman's mind, the moments where Norma Bates, he really was stressful.
Sure.
Stressful, freaking out, making him really panicky. Or either that or where she's very, very callous. When she's freaking out or callous, those are the moments that are going to stick in his mind most of all. Mm-hmm. Deep down, the nice, pleasant moments, that's why the love's there, but still a lot of the horrible moments in his mind, that's why she sounds so embittered in his mind in years to come.
Oh, yeah.
Because of these moments, and it's so funny. And then when you look at it in the grand scheme, the third thing is just look at the grand scheme of things. It's two unstable people learning how to drive or telling the other one how to drive.
Oh, that's just awful. Yeah, you're right.
It's hilarious. It's a trifecta of win.
Like, let me just say, like, my own mother, it's like, whenever I always say, like, I have no idea how you people do it in terms of driving. And whenever I say that, my mom's just like, yeah, I don't either. Like, like if my mom ever like was in the car, because oh God, it'd just be awful. I can just picture it. You know what I mean? Oh God, because
No
let me
one
just
but
say, just driving around with my mother is kind of terrifying. But
no one but go-kart enthusiasts truly like to drive.
what?
No one truly likes to drive, with the exception of go-kart enthusiasts.
Right, right.
Aside, people accept the fact they drive, but they don't like to.
Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Oh boy. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got to say about that. What's your number two?
Okay, my number two. Oh boy, my number two is a wonderful moment. It's my number two. I love my number two. It's if I had to pick one Norman, I had to pick one
Oh God.
on this list. Okay, but technically, it's funny. I technically have two Normans on this list.
Right. Yeah.
But I mean, the one I ranked up top here is the most iconic. It's more so just I gotta admit, maybe I ranked this too high, but it was I had to put Norman on there. The other one I wasn't too sure about putting it on there, so it just happened to be number 10.
Uh-huh.
But this one, it's just every time I saw the promos, I would see this Norman in particular.
Oh God, I hear you. I hear you.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
It's
man,
like
I use the hell out of it.
it's a great one. It's like she feels the reason it's on here. It's kind of leading to my number one also, but it's just like it's when she kind of turns into classic Norma Bates. You know, it's like when these are the moments that are going to stick in Norman's mind, and in this moment she kind of just sounds like you close your eyes and you can kind of imagine the Mrs. Bates in your mind from Psycho saying this.
Mm.
And you know, it's like a young version of the Mrs. Bates from Psycho saying this, which is perfect. It's her whole character right there. And there's some emotional stuff behind it, just the fact that I think, if I'm correct, Norman accuses her of manipulation with the whole Bradley thing because he's hung up on Bradley still after she's rejected him. This is right before he visits her house, so he's leaving to go to her house right now.
Right.
This is like episode, I want to say 7, the one where the dog gets hit at the end.
Mm-hmm. Oh God.
So essentially, yeah, Norman, he's kind of, his mother has just kind of chided him into saying, you know, oh, Norman, that girl doesn't like you. And again, classic Norma Bates. I'll extend it to maybe perhaps the whole moment.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, sure.
But mainly it's the Norman at the end. But essentially, she goes in the classic Norma Bates mode, just saying, you know, oh, Norman, that girl doesn't like you. I mean, what kind of girl knocks on your... I forget if she actually said the line Norman repeats later. I can't recall. I know she said it at some point. I think it was like in the first episode, though. That's the thing.
No, yeah, you're definitely right. Yeah, Norman does echo that.
Yeah, he does echo it. I think she says the actual line in the first episode, though. I'm not quite sure. She might say it here. It's either here or the first episode, where she says, you know, what kind of girl knocks on a young boy's house and asking, and you know, knocks on a boy's house and he says, I don't think you're a nice girl. Which, for prosperity's sake, I will play again.
Oh,
So, but essentially the moment, you know, essentially basically saying, you know, this girl doesn't care about you, Norman. It's over. Stop it. Stop obsessing over this girl. Says, no, mother, she likes me. Then he leaves the house to visit her, and then you know, she's freaking out, saying, "Mom, don't leave this house." And then she runs out on the porch. I love the framing of the shot. I love everything about the shot. It's used for a reason because it's so wonderfully delivered. Again, a lot of the line delivery on her is phenomenal. Here's the line. It's right. It is right here. Here we go. I'll play that again for prosperity's sake. Because I just want to hear it again. That's my favorite Norman. Out of all the Normans in the season, I love it. It's just wonderfully delivered, and I just love the build to it because of that moment. Like, he defiantly leaves the house, and she runs up on the porch. And says, at first, I had to remind myself when that moment was because I remember seeing the promos. Say, I love this moment. Which episode is it from? She says Norman so much.
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, of course.
Because I saw the outfit she was wearing. Because again, I love Norma's fashion choice. That kind of helped me out. I was thinking, when does she wear? She wears that last episode, but she doesn't run out screaming. She wears it's like it's a black getup. It's like almost like not a yoga outfit. But it's like, it's like comfort. It's like comfort thing. She wears that when she's like hiding the gun. It's like it's her comfort outfit at home.
Right.
Which looks nice on her, by the way, but that's neither here nor there. Point is, wonderful, wonderful delivery of Norman! So much build behind it, so much wonderfulness. It's in the 7th episode. Yeah, it is the 7th episode, yeah. Anyways. So that's my number 2 moment.
All right, well.
Mainly for delivery and just embodying classic Norma Bates.
Oh, yes. Great choice. And, of course, I'm glad that one of us had a Norman in the top 5, so that's good. Okay, so
now
my
I
number
think it
1
has
Blue Dragon 5. You know what it is, so you want to just play it?
Just to be clear, it's the funny line, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I got it.
You know what it is.
I know. Okay, let me just play it, folks, and we'll get into it right after.
You're a dick. Excuse me? Yes, I just called you a dick because that's what you are.
I mean, I must say, like, I called it. I believe I said it on air. Like,
what do you mean you called it?
No, I called it, like, I said, like, on air when we were recapping that episode. I was like, when we do our top 10 Norma moments, that moment is going to be hard to beat.
Oh, I thought you meant like you called it. She was going to say that line in season 2. That's what I thought you meant.
No,
like,
I'm saying I called that this was going to be my all-time favorite Norma moment up to this point. Because this is just, it's the king of Norma moments for me. It's just like, oh my god, it's so good. It encapsulates everything about the Norma Bates character. And what I love about this Blue Dragon 5 is that the reason why this is number 1 is that literally this one moment, this one line, basically goes on to be the focal point of Norma's entire storyline for the rest of the season. I think that's just great writing that just blows my mind.
Well, explain how.
Like, what?
Explain how.
Well, basically because it's like, her saying that, it kind of gets her the connection with Nick Ford, and then that connection with Nick Ford leads to the rest of the stuff that happens, and it also kind of gives her some pull in the in the seat that she got, and I forget what her role is within the town.
It inadvertently kills that guy.
Right. Oh yes.
And you got some embarrassment at the fact that guy died after she called him bad names.
Yeah, and people were just like constantly like, oh, it's kind of funny how how that guy. Oh God, what's his freaking name?
I remember his name. I just gotta think about it. It's Berg or something. It's not Berg, but it's.
God, I don't.
Oh, Berman. It's Berman. Lee Berman.
Sure?
It's Lee Berman.
Oh yeah, Lee Berman. Yeah, you're right. Oh God, I hear you're the woman who called Lee Berman a dick.
Oh yeah. I'm convinced that guy's gonna be a bad guy in season 3. More on that later.
Yeah.
Not Berman. He's dead. But no. I mean the other thing. I mentioned that.
You mean the guy who was like all?
Yeah, the bank. Well, not the bank guy. I keep saying bank. Every of those office buildings reminds me of a bank for some reason. But I mean, like the city hall. Mm-hmm. You got the city hall that was like schmoozing up to her, saying, "Tell me how you do it."
That was like, that was really weird. It's like there's got to be something to that scene.
What's so funny is that guy. He's like a whole story in his mind. Like he's in his own movie or in his own series.
Right, exactly.
And then Romero just interrupts, saying, "I need Norma for a moment." Like he was about to go into.
Oh God!
I can help you with the bypass, and then he's no more.
Oh God!
I think his name's Jerry. I could be wrong. I think his name's Jerry.
Oh Jesus! Yeah. But and then of course after she calls him a dick, she kind of just goes off like, "Oh, you're complaining about you're complaining about the books our children read, and yet your whole town's founded on marijuana." It's like, oh my God, she just goes off on a tangent.
People know about murder and whores.
Yeah. But I mean, like I said, it's just like just the way that the writers were able to incorporate just her calling someone a dick into one of the main focal points of the whole season.
That is just brilliant. That is brilliant. That moment definitely has echoes and rumblings through the whole season, shock waves through the whole season. But with so much, what's so better, what works so much about it too on just the level of the moment itself.
Uh-huh.
Like we've been rooting for Norma to say it's that whole first season. Like she's literally calling the town out on. Are you kidding me?
And the
Let's
guy is
go.
like super condescending to her too. He's like,
Screw
what's your
you!
plan, Norma Bates? What's your plan? You have no pool here.
It's a city hall. You're supposed to help me come up with a plan, you jerk.
Right.
We didn't have plans. Oh, let's get rid of the books. Let's get rid of the dangerous books for our children. What kind of plan is that? Anyway, we root for Nora because first, yeah, she's getting the rude shaft by this guy, but then she's just saying, we've been rooting for the whole scene. She's been through so much punishment in that first scene. This is our first episode. She gets a chance to relieve some tension by just yelling at the town, all gathered up, saying, "This town is screwed up.
Yeah.
My business is in trouble, and this town is screwed." That's the whole genesis of the whole series, right there. Well, of her whole plot line in the whole series.
Sure.
Motel's in trouble. Gotta stop it. This town's screwed up, ruining my life, ruining my kid. It's terrible.
Yeah, so I really don't have that much more to say about it. It's just a classic for me. It's just like, oh, it's so good.
Would you like to hear it one last time, just for prosperity's sake?
Ah, sure.
All right.
Yes, yes. Excuse me? Yes, I just called you a dick because that's what you are.
I love how this is. It's like it's not even a freak out. It's like she's very matter of fact about it.
Oh yeah.
All right, so without further ado, Blue Dragon 5, what is your number one?
Oh, my number one. Oh, that's great. It's from the last episode.
Okay.
Okay, my number one, because I've kind of mentioned in that previous moment that I love this. I love when she goes kind of classic Norma Bates.
Mhm.
Again, I think the reason because of that is the reason for that is because we kind of entered this series with that assumption that she will be classic Norma Bates the whole way through. No, I'm wrong. I'm pleasantly surprised. Well, not so much surprised. I'm very happy that we have like a fully complex Norma Bates. Because again, this show isn't black and white. It's gray. A lot of gray in between. And with that, sorry. With that, I love that when she gets in the classic Norma Bates, though, it's like her equivalent to the blackout when she gets in the classic Mrs. Bates, whenever she's shouting or freaking out.
Mm-hmm.
Overreacting, because that's what the Mrs. Bates here does in total. That's another reason we love her when she freaks out. Because now we understand why she freaks out. We're on her side because we love this character and I love the performance. But it's as impressive as when Freddie Highmore. It's as impressive as when Freddie Highmore channels like 1000% Perkins, as I've left off with last season. He went 1000% Perkins. That's impossible, but it was awesome. He pushed Perkins beyond Perkins. That guy.
Right, exactly.
As impressive as Highmore is, her equivalent to that is when she goes full Mrs. Bates. And oh my God, there's this great moment at the end of season 1 that just I rewatched this moment. It's just so awesome. I love it so much.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great moment. Of course, it's the big penultimate moment where Norman he's going into blackout mode, big time, and he's what kind of triggers a blackout mode. First of all, Blair Watson, she's getting undressed seductively. First, we thought potentially, just, at the time, Norman's thinking, oh, she's just getting undressed. It's fine. And then his mother appears. Like, what the? She's in his head. Mm-hmm. What's happening here? We've seen this happen before. Bad things happen. Now she's there, and she's just saying, oh, Norman. It's kind of like echoing kind of the things that have happened before in a weird way, kind of like how she said with Brad, like, what kind of girl goes to a young boy's house and knocks on the door?
Yeah, definitely.
And in this case, she's saying, what kind of grown woman changes in front of a young boy like that? She's troubled. She's trying. He says, no, she's just being nice, mother. It's like classic scene from Psycho, where he's arguing against his mother in his head, saying, "No, mother, she's a nice girl. It's fine." Says, no, she's trying to seduce you, Norman. Saying, "Oh, look she wants you to see her, Norman. Snap out of it." It's so funny. The the voice condoning the murder is the voice of reason in his head, saying, "Look, this is what's happening, Norman. It's not that you're acting crazy, man."
Yeah.
But the moment I love, just it culminates in a great moment. Again, we're kind of wondering, oh boy, is Norman going to kill this woman or what? What is Norman going to do to this woman? And to leave it up in the air with the perfect line. I love delivery, and I have a clip of it. Oh, I love this line. Wonderfully delivered in full, like she is full, maybe not 1,000%, she's like full, like 100% classic Mrs. Bates here.
Yeah.
So the subtlety, it's not a freak out, it's just calmly, coolly, and collectively, and scarily, given how much he has freaked out in this series. Scary. This line.
Norman, you know what you have to do.
Oh God.
Oh God, I love that line. Oh, that line it just sums up the character. At her core, that's what Norma Bates is at her core. She's the one who's going to say, that's classic Norma Bates at her core. All the likability and everything stripped away. That's what Norman's going to remember in his mind years to come. And she's dressed like Mrs. Bates. She's dressed very conservatively like Mrs. Bates will eventually. And
Right.
That's epitomizes what she will become in his mind. That kind of gives us a peek of what's going to happen in the future. So early on, even in season 1. And we've seen all the little cues of, like, you know, him repeating his mother's words, and we see more of that this season. Just this makes me very excited to see season 3. Just looking back at this.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Just like that, at the core of it, she's going to give him the advice. I always say, you know, you can do this, Norman. Says, you know what you have to do, Norman. You know what you have to do. And essentially, that's what all Psycho is about: saying, you know what you have to do, and killing someone because his mother told him to.
Oh God, right, yeah. So it
now that we officially know,
thing.
and now that we officially know that Blair Watson was in fact killed by Norman, it makes that moment so much more powerful. Looking back at it,
Sure.
they kind of left it up in the air. Did he go with his mother's words? But I think deep down, emotionally, we all knew, yeah.
And it really is kind of like, it's funny because they really kind of end season 2 in a similar way, where they kind of come full circle with that whole thing.
It's less so like what happened, more so now. It's like what next, and that's just a wonderful question to leave off on just that season. Oh boy, things are getting interesting now, and I love Vera Farmiga's performance of this character in that moment. It blows me away every time, and just to kind of culminate all the freakouts and everything, all these great moments presented by Norma. I just want to use an old quote here, if I may. You use an old quote just to kind of summarize all the Norma Bates freakouts before we end here.
Mm-hmm. It's not as if she were a maniac, a raving thing. She just goes a little mad sometimes. We all go a little mad sometimes. Haven't you?
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah.
But I got some. I got a cherry on top, Tiki. I can close this thing out on whenever you're ready.
Yeah, sure.
I'm saying, like, do we want to wrap up before I play the cherry on top, or?
Oh yeah, sure. Sorry.
Yeah, Tiki, we've gone down a list of 13 technically wonderful Norma Bates ones. So good it even took up 2 videos. Am I right?
Oh God, well technically 3, but yeah. It's so good that YouTube itself just couldn't handle the awesomeness, and it was like, no, shut it down.
Tiki! But we ourselves were compelled by this mother of all mothers to talk about her, even after Mother's Day itself. But in the spirit of just celebrating one of the classic mothers of cinema, just kind of epitomizes loving your child to the point where it just plain hurts.
Yeah, right.
Or more like some like a stabbing motion in the shower, like you know. But yeah, still, Vera Farmiga brought this character to screen, brought the color to the black and white, but not in a way that makes us think of Anne Heche. Just wonderful moments by Vera Farmiga delivered as Norma Bates, as this fantastic character. I cannot wait to see what she does with the future with this character. Cannot wait to see what ramifications happen because of the wonderful performance she has given, and she really brings the qualities that we are in love with this show to fruition. Yeah. Along with Freddie Highmore's performance, along with the production value, along with the costuming, along with everything with this show. Am I right?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I'm sorry, any final thoughts, by all means?
Really, no, I mean you summed it up pretty perfectly. She's just, she really is kind of the anchor of the show along with Highmore, and it's just really, I'm so glad that, that we have this dynamic going on, and it's just, oh, it's so good, and and like you said, I just can't wait to see where it goes in the future, and eventually, just kind of the whole mother thing in Norman's head just getting more and more developed. Yeah, it's exciting stuff.
I mean, actually, Tika, I actually have a surprise for you with this cherry on top.
Oh boy.
I'm sorry?
Well, I was just going to say, just before you get to the little cherry on top, just let me just say, folks, I've just really enjoyed recapping this season of Bates Motel. I'm pretty sure it's the first time I've ever fully committed to recapping a season of anything. So Blue Dragon 5, we had some laughs, we had some fun, we shed some tears, and
we saw some murders.
Oh yes, and so it was a good time. So we will be back in November, I believe, to recap Better Call Saul, the Breaking Bad spinoff. So
that's
should be
November.
I know it's sometime late this year, so sometime around there. Don't quote me on that, but sometime late in 2014. So
we'll definitely be there for Saul.
Oh yes, and then Bates
we'll have a Bates
season 3 that is coming back. I know they announced 2015. I'm gonna announce. I'm gonna guess February 2015.
That'd be my guess. That'd be my guess also. So, we'll probably be back with a trailer or something.
Right. Yeah, as soon as the first trailer hits, we'll be making a video like, oh my god, what's that mean?
Like, if I were to ballpark it, I'd say, and I could be wrong here, so correct me, I ballparked saying we talk about the trailer for a video, and maybe another video we kind of recap season 2 on the whole.
Oh yeah, sure. There'll definitely be a season
as we get closer.
Video, sure.
Because the thing is, it's a funny thing, on demand, they'll probably have all the episodes available again. I'll probably watch through those. And
right. When season 2 comes out on DVD and everything, I'll rewatch it again with my dad for sure.
Exactly. So, something to just kind of talk about the series on the whole and just kind of implications for the third season, yada, yada, yada. So definitely. Are you ready for the cherry on top?
Yes, go for it.
Well, Tiki, I got a special surprise here. I actually somehow, don't ask me how, I managed to go into the future.
Oh boy.
And I actually had the ending of Bates Motel.
Are you pulling the Captain Logan here?
Yes. I actually have the ending of Bates Motel at my disposal. Would you like to hear it? I know it's a bit of a spoiler, but I don't think it's going to ruin your experience if you hear this. It goes for you people too. It's an exclusive. A&E has nothing on this. Okay?
Oh, I'm so curious.
You ready? Here's the ending, and it's an ending that does well reflect the Norma Bates character, actually. But Norma has a very important part to play, also. But yeah, you're gonna love it. Ready?
Yes.
Okay.
It's sad when a mother has to speak the words that condemn her own son, but I couldn't allow them to believe that I would commit murder. I put him away now, as I should have years ago. He was always bad, and in the end he attempted to tell them I killed those girls and that man, as if I could do anything except just sit and stare, like one of his stuffed birds. I know I can't even move a finger, and I won't. I'll just sit here and be quiet, just in case they do suspect me. They're probably watching me. Well, let them see what kind of a person I am. I'm not even going to swat that far. I hope they are watching. They'll see. They'll see and they'll know. And they'll say, why, she wouldn't even harm a fly.
Oh God! Oh, fantastic!
Love the score at the end of that, which is actually in our show, by the way.
Yeah. All right, folks, so that'll do it for Talking Mrs. Bates for the season. Thank you guys all for sticking it out with us. And like we said, we will certainly be back the minute a trailer hits. And yeah, check out some more stuff for us in the future. All right, any last words, Blue Dragon 5, besides that? Want to get one last Norman in there?
Pretty much, yeah.
All right. All right, great. All right. Have a good day, everyone.
See ya.